So yeah, so if you don't like the river, just smooth it all out here. This is kind of what... Oh, it's so many lines, and so you can see how interesting rivers you can create here. If we fill this area up with sea, with a big lake, you could just hollow it out and use the streams here and let the water go all the way to the sea. So it's a very interesting thing that you can do. So let's take a look at the mountain here. It actually looks quite decent for being directly imported from the height maps. I think why I'm showing you this mountain is because the next thing we're gonna work with a lot is the eroding things. So by eroding things, it means it will be more spotty and more craggy. The map is already quite craggy, so yeah, so it's probably a lot of work to smooth it all out. So let's start by doing that now. I will use the full screen here, even that I can see everything. So we can see the mountains here and with the streams like we saw in the game. And one thing that becomes apparent in the game is that these height maps are in very low resolution. So even when you're working on Wilbur, which is a mic size of 10,081 pixels, I prefer double that, because when you import it into the game you can see how rough it looks, and it doesn't look as smooth as it does in the height map here. So more resolution would be helpful, but you have to work with kind of what you get. So let's go to more tools. We have one of these interesting things here. You have the perception erosion. This will erode especially the edges of stuff, because it will simulate this the time gone away and that rough is down. And so this is already imported from a height map. We already have these erosion features on our map. It can be really helpful if you paint your own map to use these kind of effects, because it will rough it up. In our case, our map is really rough from the beginning, so it doesn't really add so much to it. So what I usually go is with 3 passes, but let's start with 1 pass and take a look at the mountain here. Let's import this so we can see what I have done. You see the mountain has changed here, and you will see it will look more spotty and rough, because yeah, it has eroded by the nature itself. So okay, cool. So let's zoom into the mountain, because it's mostly apparent here, and also take a good look at these smooth ridges here. It's really smooth. So if we now import our new versions, you can see it's a lot rougher. So you can see, especially on the mountain, it has now lost some height. It's not that defined in a way, but you can see it has pox marks and stuff. And also, if we look at this one, we can see how the water has worked here over a long time. But it really helped out for if we take a good look of our erosion cycles here. It's really here. It's now very apparent here. It has been very rough here, and that can actually look and blend things in. But yes, it will destroy detail. Also, it will also fill the basins a bit. So you can go over this a couple of times. And you can see how there at the shoreline, let's take a good look at the shoreline, because this has become, I think actually it benefits the deer, because it's no longer very smooth, but you can smooth this out, but it definitely looks different here, because it's no longer. Let's take a good look at this here. You can see now everything has become more craggy, and you can really see it in the height map. Why can't I use this mode in the map editor when I paint things? But yeah, you can see every crag and thing there. So I think it's in our case it works with just one time, I think, but you could actually let's add it 2 more times, which is probably what you want to do if you have painted your own islands and things, because it will erode a lot. So you can see now, one of the other things with the eroding is of course that it destroys the materials and flattens things out because it simulates water just blending everything out. So you can see now when we doubled up on the effect here. So let's take a good look in the game again so we can see what this effect has done. Okay, so let's import a map test here. You can see directly, especially on the mountaintops, has become a lot more craggy. Let's see, you can see now, it kind of looks nice. It really looks nice how it works here. And I think actually if you are a little bit creative, you can just make the highest part. Let's try that because it's not that cool to add this effect here. You can see it has filled in our dike here that was created here more and more because more and more material has melted out. So let's be creative and just add this effect to the mountaintops where we benefit from them. Look at this mountain now, it looks really good. So I don't want to add this effect over here. So if we are a little bit clever here, I think we can figure it out how to just work with the mountaintops. So what we want to do now is go for the height range. We want a minimum of 100 and let's try 1000. So that, as you can see, has selected everything here from here. So I think we need to go even higher. So yeah, you have to. One thing I've found out with the selecting height range is a trial and error. It's a trial and error prone thing. So let's go with 2600 here. So that's really cool because now we have more or less just. Let me show me again, that was probably fast because I just do things with muscle memory here. So what I did here is to go for the select height between minimum 1000. Don't hang up on feet or meters, it's just a value, so it's just about finding the right values. So you have 1000, 2600 there, so that's selected the mountaintops for us now here. So now we can just erode those. However we want. So let's give them, as we are just messing about with the mountains, let's give it 3 passes here. Oh, that was a little bit way, it became just no noise here, so it probably is because it has less information to apply it to. So let's try once. Yeah, it seems like it's more heavy-handed when you're just selecting the mountains, but let's just see how this looks. And I really, how I have learned Wilbur, try and error, try and error. I've tried everything over and over again until I learned how what's happening. So yeah, so I probably don't use the correct terms. So you can see here, in our case, it wasn't that great effect. It was a little bit too much because now it looks like something from hell or something like that. So let's see if we can we apply. Usually we have options. So we have passes, multi-pass blend. We can blend it with a 50% amount, so it will not go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that just added some of it. Yeah, because I think the less information it has, the math has to do with it, the more rougher it will be because it has less sample data. Once again, I'm just guesstimating what's happening behind the math here. So let's see if our 50% appliance was a little bit better. Yeah, that was a little bit better. I think we can probably go with 25%, but yes, you get the idea. This just applied to the mountains here. So I'm thinking I want to show you more effects here. So first let's select here. I don't want to do that to the mountain. It was quite good looking with one pass here. We, however, have a lot more, so I'm just trying to go through all the things here. The terrains, what I thought it was gonna take out plateaus, because when I was dealing with different, I was just painting in different gray values, and I thought it's gonna blend it for it. It doesn't do that. It kind of just squeezes the map out a bit. It squeezes it out, and it doesn't do anything else. So fill basing can be useful because it will fill a flattening area out where it's already flat. Let's zoom in and Control C and Control Y. Let's see here. So I can show you what it does. This could be useful. It's of course very useful. So let's press Control Y for apply. Oh, it doesn't work like that in this game. Okay, so fill basins. So you can see what it does. It kind of looks for the flat areas between those things and fill it out a bit. It will also fill out your floods a bit. This can make it easier for you to get more flat areas. But you can see here. So let's see what they've done here. Sometimes you have to do it a couple of times. You can do it over and over again. Let's see. Oh, Control B. Okay. Let's fill this out and flatten the area out a bit. So one. So we have flattened areas out a bit. So let's save this. Okay, cool. So let's check the lake here. Oh yeah, it has filled it out and make it RC to even to expand more, of course, because this has also affected the sea level, because that is one of our flat areas. But we can see now here we have fairly flat areas here to work with if we want to. So let's mess about with something else. I'm just want to go through all of these, the ones I understand. Mount, what does this do? I'm not sure, because that's the problem, is because I don't understand the terminology, and I'm not always sure how much it does. So the minimum height is 0, that's sea level. So let's put it just to see if we can make it do something. I don't see anything happening, so yeah, officially doesn't understand why you want to use it or what is it for. Height clip is quite easy, so you're telling the game is just sea level, so zero, it's -0 here, but you can clip it to something else more useful, to like, let's say 500, and it will look like this, and yeah, it looks awful, but I used it for filling out the sea, so, but you can probably use it more creatively if you are just willing to. So this is also quite interesting. This was what I was using for making the sea level here, so I can go for filling in more sea and so on. That's how I filled in. You can scale it around. So it's all about, the thing is you have to go in and out of the menu because you can't preview your results. So it's a little bit time consuming thing to do, but it can be very interesting. So what is kind of fun with the morphology is that it takes samples. This is how I understand it. It takes sample of this one and rotates it. So it takes one sample and rotates it. We can see the result here. It spreads out and softens it out a bit. Let's take a good look how it looks here. It actually can be beneficial if your map is very rough. The roading thing will, remember, roading will spread things out. So this is kind of what the morphology, I think it just spreads everything out a little bit. So let's take a look what it does, but sometimes it can be beneficial. It's all about trying and error and try what works for here. So we can now see the very rough features here. I think the mountain is always a good test case here because we can see directly what's happening. So you can see there this morph actually make it a little bit smoother again. We can take a look at the stream. It has somehow it has stopped there. The water source can't follow it over there, but it has smoothed everything out. As you can see here, let's go back and I'm gonna show you here. So let's see if we go with a higher value so we can see what it actually does. So let's erode again, but this time with 3 samples, so it will be a bigger sample. So you can see now the floods has become wider, the mountain range has become narrower here, the veins of the mountain has become narrower, because yes, it has been eroded and the flood has been eroding here. So this is, let's take a good look how it looks. It's always good to see it in the game. So let's take our test mounting. And as you can see here, what it also does is actually when you do it with 3 samples, which means it has a bigger size, samples more pixels, it will, as you can see, it becomes blocky. It has become blocky here. It kind of looks like Minecraft. If you want to go for that, you probably can use a map and go for Minecraft like that, if you are into that kind of stuff. So let's go back again and look at this one. In my understanding, this does the complete opposite. It will crank everything together, like someone is squeezing the map from all sides. So let's do that once more time. So now as our rivers has become more narrow and things, but it still blurs everything out because yeah, it's morph. So let's see how it looks inside the game. So we are going from Minecraft and to dilate here. So we have things here. It does. As you can see, it kind of looks how our map looked before we destroyed everything with erosion. So let's take a look here. We can see the dishes has become a little bit narrow here. So cool. It can be useful for something, but you can always try things out. You can always go back and change things. So let's see. We are done with more things. So Wilbur add noise. Let's see. It will just add noise, so we can see this will add just random pixels. I think it works really well if you're actually creating a map or something. But if you're not, it can actually. Let's see how it looks in the game, because it will just make everything more craggy. Because we can't resolve that detail anyway. So let's see here. Yeah, so as you can see, it has added no noise, and this is what happens. This is where you can't have enough resolution. You can see the different steps here, so it doesn't really look good. Maybe this looks good if you do using Wilbur. What's it supposed to do? I think it was supposed to be used for making maps and stuff. And as you can see, it's it's not. Noise is not that useful for. Noise is not that useful for city skylines purposes, but yes. Oh, interesting. What's that? Okay, let's add that then. It's the same as probably we will apply the noise a little bit more intelligently, but the other one is just pure noise. Which noise is it where you take a pattern of different values and make them very close to each other, which makes a picture noisy in a photography full. So however, what's kind of interesting is this, where you can create your own. Let's take a look at this. If you can probably use this as for creating maps from fractals. So let's see here. So this is how a fractal looks inside City Skylines. It kind of looks kind of cool. With this, if you're doing like a Mars-themed map or something, I think this could actually work really cool. Well, and of course you can work with this with all the effects you already showed you. So spectral noise, what's that? Oh yeah, this is more like noise, this looks like more real, this looks like so yeah. I'm not that interesting in that, so let's see here. All these things here I have no understanding. Sharpen, oh, it looks kinda cool to sharpen something in this view, so let's see. I'm just curious how it will look in the game. I just know it will not work very well, so let's just add some on sharp marks. And it's actually a blur filter on sharp marks. Is actually sharpening is actually blurring your picture, first you blur the edges very intelligently, which will give the appearance of sharpness, but yes, it's probably will not work really well with a picture. Okay, that was kind of cool. Cool effect. So yes, it is settling down here. It didn't do so much on sharpening here, but what kind of sharpening, how on sharpening works, I'm just gonna demonstrate here why it doesn't work for a city skyline map. So if we take the terrain height here, okay, let's make it a little bit. So here we have the area that is so by sharpening it, you kind of add a darker light line just right between it. So it's not a really good effect for city skylines map. So that's how you sharpen it. You make that thing more visible by adding a line almost at the same contour. It's actually two pictures on top of each other with a blur filter, and then you blend it in. So yes, it doesn't work very well with these kind of things. So threshold? Oh, this is interesting. Will this do what I think? It will say just use 500 levels of the shades from the darkest to the lightest, from the lowest to the highest. So you can see it here. Interesting. Let's see how it works. That could be an interesting effect. I'm excited by stuff like this because I'm a nerd. So let's see. Oh, this could be used to cool stuff. So this will create more plateauy things. So this was 500 levels, and it's kind of visible, and it's probably even more visible from here. Let's just play around with this a bit. I want to, if I want to make everything even meters per inches, let's go levels instead. Let's go with just 50 levels. That means it will just be 50 different height values. So this is how it looks. Interesting stuff. You could be probably useful for something. I don't know, but I kind of love this kind of stuff because you can manipulate how information is shown for you. So here we have plateau, Minecraft again. It's Minecraft again, yes. So if you're going for Minecraft effect, this would probably work very well because it has turned everything to a plateau. And I think it's really interesting. Really interesting. Let's go with 25. Let's go Super Minecraft. Let's go with just 25 levels. That's a little bit too much. I want it to be Super Minecraft. Super Mario Minecraft, is that a thing? Now I'm just saying things to sound smart. So yeah, we can go super old school computer game. When you do, you have to kind of use as little information as possible to represent something bigger. So, then this is interesting. How does our lake look? It's kind of, I think it's really interesting if you use it for a map. But I'm not sure most City Skylines players will want to use that. But as you can see here, This is also what happens when there is not enough information in the height map to resolve resolution. You get these pointy things here because it's kind of between two squares, so that's just a half square, so it just translated like that. They got the height correctly, but they couldn't resolve the things between there. But yeah. So I think if let's just take a. I think we've gone through everything I know about Wilbur. If you have any questions or otherwise, you're always welcome to, of course, ask in the comments. I have policy, as I'm a small channel, I always answer my comments. So if I can answer your question, I will try to answer your question. But otherwise, hopefully this will have given you something to start about Wilbur and how you can use it for your City Skylines maps. So that was everything, my dear friends, and as always, thank you for watching.